Everyone laughed when I said I'd only marry her if she proposed, until the alien woman breathed. Then say yes. I didn't even hear the laughter fade. It just died, like someone muted the world. Her voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It slid under my skin, calm, unblinking, terrifying in the way only truth can be. And for a second, for a dangerous, breathless second, I forgot we were standing in the middle of a crowded orbital transit lounge where 19 species were trying to board 3 different shuttles at once. Forgot the neon departure glyphs pulsing overhead. Forgot the vibration of engines warming under the deck plates. Forgot I was a nobody human technician who'd accidentally wandered into the wrong terminal. All I remembered was her. The alien woman who'd been silently watching me from the moment I walked in. Tall. Slate blue skin. Eyes like compressed night black, but threaded with silver currents that moved when she blinked. Hair braided with metallic fibers that hummed softly, picking up stray frequencies. And markings, thin glowing sigils that circled her wrists, climbing her arms like constellations. She stepped closer. Slow. Purposeful. Say it, she whispered again. My pulse stuttered. I tried to speak, make a joke, deflect anything, but the sound stuck in my throat. The people around us, the ones who'd been laughing moments before, went silent too. Not because they were afraid. No. They were watching. Waiting. Because they all recognized her. I didn't, not fully, but I recognized the insignia on her throat, a curved line split through the center by a vertical glyph. Kethrian ascendancy. High rank. Royal? No, worse. Military. Which meant one thing, she wasn't joking. What? I managed, my voice cracking like a teenager's, because apparently my dignity had been left back at Gate 7. Her gaze held mine with unnerving stillness. You claim you would accept if I proposed. So accept. I was joking. Were you? She tilted her head, studying me with clinical focus, like she was reading a scan only she could see. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Your heart rate suggests otherwise. My heart rate was suggesting many things at once, most of them involving running, hiding, or spontaneously ceasing to exist. Look, I swallowed. This is a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding, she repeated, whisper soft. Human word for fear. That's not. I stopped. Because something shifted. The air around us tightened. The crowd subtly backed away. Conversations died. The overhead lights dimmed a fraction, not from power fluctuation, but because the station AI recognized her presence and prioritized ambient focus. A dozen drones adjusted their orbit around her. She wasn't just military. She was someone they made space for. She stepped close enough that I felt the faint static radiating from her skin. My breath caught. What is your name? She asked. Cal. I hated how small it sounded. Cal, she repeated, as if testing how the syllable tasted. I am Lirae. The name tugged at a memory, a headline, a diplomatic alert, a rumor whispered around supply docks. Lirae Vielen. Kethrian tactician. The woman who de-escalated the Zyran conflict with a single negotiation. The woman whose proposals, political or otherwise, were binding. My stomach dropped. I felt weightless. Exposed. You made a claim, she said. Before witnesses. Before the station AI. Before me. Everyone jokes, I said weakly. I do not. Her hand lifted, slow, deliberate, and she pressed 2 fingers against the air between us. Not touching, but close enough that I felt the warmth radiating from her skin. A Kethrian approximation of proximity claim. Every species nearby gasped. I propose, she said softly. My heart slammed into my ribs. Why? Because you said yes. You heard? Your voice carries, she said. Your intent carries further. That wasn't intent, that was. Her eyes brightened. You interest me. Ah, hell. Interest, in Kethrian culture, wasn't romantic. It wasn't cute. It meant they found something unpredictable, something statistically rare, something potentially dangerous or valuable. Interest meant involvement. Permanent involvement. I don't want to offend your customs. You already have, she said calmly. Now correct it. How? Accept. My brain scrambled for logic. We don't even know each other. We will. She took one more step. Proposal acceptance triggers evaluation. A sequence of trials. If you fail, you walk away. If you pass, her voice lowered. You belong to each other. Belong? A nearby trader coughed violently, muttering something in a language I didn't understand but absolutely recognized as "oh gods, the human is doomed." Lirae, I whispered, voice cracking again. I really think this is a mistake. Her pupils tightened. You refuse? No, I just. She leaned in. The silver threads inside her eyes brightened until they glowed like lightning trapped under glass. Then say yes, she breathed. My throat locked. My mind emptied. My lips parted before I could stop them. Yes, I whispered. And the world moved. Light rippled across the deck as the station AI registered the acceptance. A resonant chime rolled through the transit hall. The drones shifted instantly, forming a perimeter around us. The crowd gasped, some stepping back, others leaning forward like spectators at a ritual. Lirae exhaled gently, the smallest sign of satisfaction. Good, she said. Good? I rasped. She lifted her hand and touched her fingers lightly to my cheek, not possessive, not tender, but claiming. The sigils on her arms flared. Your trials begin now. Trials? I croaked. Plural? A Kethrian does not bind herself lightly, she said. You accepted. Now you prove. I thought we'd talk first. Maybe get a drink? We will. During the first trial. First what? She turned. Follow. Can I say goodbye to my friends? You may, she said. If you believe you will return. Not helpful. I took one step after her, then stopped as a four-armed traveler clapped my back sympathetically. Bold move, human, he murmured. Hope you survive. I don't, I muttered. But Lirae looked back at me, eyes softening by a fraction, just enough to be noticed, not enough to understand. And despite every rational cell in my body screaming to run, something in her gaze anchored me. Something magnetic. Something terrifying. Something impossibly beautiful. I followed. The station's pulse shifted as we moved, lights adjusting, pathways rerouting, the environment molding itself to her authority. She walked like gravity bent for her. I stumbled behind like gravity hated me. We entered a side corridor, quiet, narrow, lined with humming crystalline conduits. The doors sealed behind us. She stopped. Trial 1, she said. I swallowed. Which is? She turned fully to me, face unreadable. Truth. Before I could ask what that meant, the walls lit with scanning light, soft, golden, but terrifying in its precision. She stepped closer, voice lowering to a murmur that pressed heat into my spine. I ask, she whispered. You answer. With nothing hidden. That sounds personal. It is, she said. And necessary. I cleared my throat. Okay. Shoot. She blinked once. Why did you say yes? I froze. Everything in the corridor stilled. The air. My breath. My excuses? I don't know, I said. That is not truth. I swallowed hard. You're overwhelming. Still not truth. You're intimidating. Not enough. You're. I exhaled shakily. You're beautiful. Her eyes flickered. Superficial. Continue. I wasn't thinking, I said. Now you are lying. Okay, fine, My voice faltered. I felt something when you looked at me. Silence. Then. Better, she whispered. She stepped closer, too close. Her breath brushed my skin. And what did you feel? Like I'd stepped off a ledge. And you accepted anyway? I didn't mean to. And yet you did. I don't know why, I whispered. Lirae studied me for a long, silent moment. Then she said something new, soft, quiet, almost fragile under the steel. That makes two of us. I blinked. You. Do not assume I understand what draws me. A breath. But I do not ignore the pull. My heart slammed. Hard. Before I could respond, she turned sharply. Trial 1 is complete. That's it. For now. What's Trial 2? She looked over her shoulder, eyes glowing with something far more dangerous than interest. Survival. And the floor dropped beneath my feet. The floor dropped, but there was no time to scream. No time to think. No time to beg the universe to rewind 10 minutes to when I was just a guy joking around with coworkers. I fell, then stopped. Or rather, something caught me. A suspension field snapped into place, seizing my body midair like invisible hands gripping every inch of my skin. I gasped, unable to move, suspended above a cavernous chamber lit by shifting aurora-like currents. Beneath me, the floor reformed itself into smooth plates of silver-black alloy. The air was cold, sharp, metallic. Lirae floated down as if gravity were an optional suggestion for her species. Her feet touched the ground lightly. Trial 2 begins. I'm still dangling. I choked. Yes, she said. That will change once the chamber evaluates your baseline reflexes. Reflexes? What does that? The field released. I dropped. I hit the ground hard enough to see static. Before I could breathe, a beam of bright white light shot from the ceiling. Instinct kicked in, I rolled. The beam hit where I had been lying a second earlier, cracking the floor with a sound like thunder exploding in a glass bottle. What the hell was that? A calibrator, she said calmly. It tests threat response. Do not let it touch you. It is not lethal, but you will wish it was. Not helping. Another beam fired, this time sweeping across the floor like a searching blade. I jumped back, hard hammering. The beam passed so close it burned the air. Lirae, this is insane. You agreed to the proposal, she said. This is the consequence. I thought it was a joke. Your humor has consequences. I ducked as another beam sliced the space above my head. My breath was ragged. My palms were sweating. My entire body was screaming. What is this supposed to prove? That you can survive at least 5 minutes in Kethrian training conditions. Why? Because, she said, binding yourself to me means sharing my world. If you fall apart here, you will fall apart everywhere. Then how about we don't bind anything? Her expression didn't change, but something in her eyes softened, barely. It is too late for that. Too late. The words punched harder than the beams. A new thread emerged, darts, sleek, humming, pulsing hot blue. They streaked toward me like guided missiles. I dove behind a pillar, only to realize the pillar wasn't real. It dissolved when I touched it. I fell through, hitting the ground again. Come on! I shouted at the universe. You must move with intention, Lirae said, circling the perimeter with preternatural grace. Do not react. Anticipate. Antici, are you kidding me? The darts redirected, chasing me artificially. I sprinted, sliding under a curved platform, then rolled out the other side. A dart grazed my shoulder, leaving a line of burning numbness. Lirae! You have 3 minutes remaining. 3? A metallic tendril uncoiled from the wall like a mechanical serpent, whipping toward me. I barely ducked before it cracked the air above me. Is this a trial or an execution? It is mild, she said. Mild? Another tendril lashed. I stumbled backward, hitting another beam that angled down like a blade. It missed by inches only because I fell hard and stupidly. Lirae watched, expression unreadable. You improvise strangely. I'm improvising because everything here is trying to kill me. You exaggerate. Only half of it is. Oh, that makes me feel so much better. A sharp alarm pulsed through the chamber. Lirae's eyes flicked upward. Interesting, she murmured. It has decided to escalate. Escalate? What do you mean escalate? Panels in the walls slid open. And something walked out. Not a person. Not a robot. Something in between, tall, multi-limbed, flexible as liquid shadow. No eyes. No mouth. Just a black, seamless surface that rippled like oil. Lirae, I whispered. What is that? Your evaluator. It looks like a nightmare's tax accountant. It will not harm you. It has 6 arms. Then you must adapt to 6. The creature lunged. I threw myself sideways as one limb sliced the air where my head had been. 2 more limbs came from the opposite direction. I ducked under one, jumped over another, but the third hit my torso, knocking the wind out of me. I collapsed. Pain exploded across my ribs. Get up, Lirae said quietly. I can't. You can. I'm not like you. No, she agreed. You are not. You feel fear more sharply. You break more easily. You bleed faster. She stepped closer, voice lowering without losing its edge. And yet you stood when you could run. You accepted when you could laugh it off. You look at me even when it terrifies you. The creature charged again. Lirae's eyes blazed. Get up, Cal. Something in her tone, sharp, commanding, almost desperate, ripped through the fog in my mind. I pushed myself up, stumbling, barely on my feet before another strike came. I sidestepped, and the limb smashed into the floor instead. My breathing was ragged, but my brain was clearing. I moved to the side. A limb followed. Another limb came from behind, but I spun, letting its momentum guide it past me instead of fighting it. The creature's fluid motion suddenly seemed slower, not physically, but in the way patterns click once you've seen them long enough. It struck high twice. Then low. Then low-high. Then swept. I dodged all 4. Not gracefully. Not even strategically. But I dodged. Good, Lirae murmured. I didn't feel good. I felt like I was going to die of fear-induced sweating. The creature suddenly pulled back. Its limbs folded. It stared at me, if it could stare, then, without warning, retreated into the wall. The chamber lights softened. The beams vanished. The darts retracted. Silence fell like a curtain. Trial 2 was over. I collapsed, gasping. Lirae approached, kneeling beside me. For the first time, her hand touched my chest, not as a claim, not as a command, but as something startlingly close to concern. You survived, she said. Barely, I wheezed. Barely is enough. I kind of hate you, I said weakly. A faint smile touched her lips. No. You do not. I might. You will not. You're very confident. I am Kethrian. That doesn't mean anything to me. It will. She stood and offered her hand. I hesitated, then took it. Her grip was surprisingly warm. Strong. Steady. You pass, she said. Past what exactly? Compatibility. You mean physical compatibility? Reflex compatibility? Emotional? Yes, she said. All. That was emotional. For my people. That explains so much and also nothing. She helped me stand. My legs shook. I swayed. She steadied me with a hand on my back. You will adjust, she said. I'd prefer to nap for a few days. Impossible, she replied. Trial 3 is waiting. Lirae, I just fought a metal octopus demon. Can I get a break? No. What is Trial 3? Please tell me it's a quiz. Or a personality test. Or a group discussion about boundaries. It is the most important, she said. That's never good. She stepped closer. Her voice dropped. Trial 3, she whispered, is revelation. Revela, what? Before I could finish, the chamber dissolved around us, melting away like shimmering dust. Light rose beneath our feet, turning the world into a vertical river of shifting memories that weren't mine. We were falling. Floating. Sinking. Into her. Into her mind. Her secrets. Her past. Trial 3 wasn't about me. It was about her. Her voice drifted through the collapsing world, soft, dark, trembling in a way I had never heard before. If you are to bind with me, she murmured, you must see what I have been. Lirae. And decide if you still say yes. The world snapped open like a wound. And I saw her. The first memory hit like a punch. A battlefield of broken structures under a violet sky. Fires burning cold blue. Bodies, human and not human, scattered like discarded shells. A younger Lirae stood alone in the ruins, her armor cracked, her hands trembling with exhaustion and something violent underneath. Her voice, small, distant, echoed beside me. This is who I was. The memory shifted. A negotiation chamber drowned in tension. Species I didn't recognize arguing. Lirae stepped forward, placing a weapon on the table, not as threat, but as surrender. This is who I became. Another shift. A medical bay. She stood beside a fallen comrade's pod, hand against the glass, her expression breaking in a way her real face never had. This is who I lost. Another shift. A dark hall, lit only by her own markings as she knelt alone, head bowed, shaking. This is what they expect me to be. Then, everything went dark. Only her remained, standing in front of me, illuminated by the faint glow of her sigils. Her eyes were raw, no steel, no command, just aching, terrifying vulnerability. This, she whispered, is who you say yes to. The world held its breath. I stepped forward. Her breath hitched. Cal, she said, voice trembling, truly trembling, for the first time. If you walk away now, the bond dissolves. You will be free. Say nothing, and we return to strangers. I raised a hand to her cheek. She froze. My voice cracked when I spoke. I didn't say yes to who you were, I whispered. I said yes to who you are. Her eyes widened. And I'll keep saying yes, I breathed, until you tell me to stop. Silence. Then she exhaled, shaky, disbelieving, undone. Trial 3 shattered. Light engulfed us. The memory world dissolved. And we were back in the chamber. She stared at me like she had never seen anything like me in her entire life. Then, slowly, carefully, she touched her forehead to mine. Cal, she whispered, barely audible. You passed. My heart felt too big for my chest. What now? I murmured. She pulled back just enough to look at me. No, she said. We face the consequences. Before I could ask, the chamber doors exploded open. Kethrian guards flooded in. Every weapon pointed at me. And Lirae stepped between us. Her voice dropped into a tone that shook the air. He is mine! The guards froze, not because they feared me, but because they feared her. Every weapon hummed, angled at my heart, but none dared fire. Commander Lirae, one of them said carefully, the Council demands the human's detainment. He accepted a Kethrian proposal without clearance. He accepted mine, she said. That is irrelevant. It is binding. A ripple went through the guards. A shift in posture. A flicker of uncertainty. The lead guard straightened. Commander, the Council issued an emergency override. They accuse the human of manipulating the ritual. My voice cracked. Manipulating? I didn't even know the ritual existed. Another guard muttered under his breath. He probably thought it was flirting. Okay, yes, I had thought that, but now was not the time. Lirae took one step forward. The guards took one step back. The Council forgets, she said quietly, dangerously, that I outrank 3 of their members. And I do not tolerate false accusations against someone under my shield. Her shield. Not metaphorical. Literal. Because as she spoke, the air around us shimmered, thin glowing arcs blooming around my shoulders and curling outward like translucent wings. A Kethrian protective field. Rare. Ancient. Activated only in defense of someone they'd chosen. The guards inhaled sharply. She used the core shield, one whispered. On a human. Impossible. No Kethrian has invoked that in 40 years. Lirae ignored them. She reached behind her back and detached a metallic crest from her armor. When she pressed it against my chest, the sigils on my skin glowed faintly in response, reacting to her energy. A seal. A claim. A warning. The guard captain swallowed hard. Commander, this means war. No, Lirae said, eyes blazing like twin tempests. This means truth. She turned to me. Cal, stay behind me. That lasted 2 whole seconds before a guard lunged. Lirae moved faster. She caught his wrist, twisted, and dropped him to his knees with terrifying precision. Another guard tried to flank her. She spun, sweeping his legs out from under him in one fluid motion. A third fired a containment bolt at me. Lirae didn't think. She threw herself between us. The bolt slammed into her shoulder with a brutal crack. She staggered. I caught her before she hit the ground. Lirae! She gritted her teeth. Do not run! I'm not leaving you! Her breath shook. The sigils across her skin flickered, dimmed, then flared brighter, angry, burning like molten metal. The guards hesitated. Because every Kethrian knew what came next. She rose slowly from my arms. Not steady. Not calm. But furious. You dare fire upon One-Eye Shield? She whispered. The temperature dropped. The air tightened. The chamber vibrated with a low, dangerous hum. Even the walls seemed to recoil. Commander, the captain said sharply. Stand down. I do not stand down, she said. Not when my chosen is threatened. Chosen. The words slammed into me harder than the chamber's trials ever had. Lirae raised her hand. The guards flinched. Energy crackled in her palm, a swirling sphere of raw Kethrian will. Not lethal, but enough to tear the weapons from their hands, which it did in an explosive burst of light. Metallic shards scattered across the floor. Leave, she said. No one moved. I said leave. This time, they obeyed, stumbling backward, retreating into the hall like a tide pulling away from a storm. The moment they disappeared, Lirae swayed. I caught her again. Sit, I said. Impossible. We must leave. You're injured. It is superficial. Blood, dark, shimmering, stardust-like, trickled down her arm. That is not superficial. Her gaze met mine, and for the first time since I'd met her, I saw something break through the steel. Fear. Not for herself. For me. Cal, she whispered. The council will not let us walk away. They will send more. Stronger. And they will not hesitate. Then we run. Her lips parted, surprised. Run. With you, I said fiercely. Not from you. She stared at me, utterly still. Then something in her expression softened, slowly, painfully, like ice cracking under warmth that didn't know how to hold. You would run with me? I'd go anywhere with you. A breath. A tremble. A surrender. Then follow, she murmured. She activated her wristband, and a hidden panel slid open in the chamber wall, revealing a narrow passage pulsing with emergency lights. Lirae grabbed my hand. Her grip tight. Warm. Desperate. Cal, she said, voice almost breaking. If you continue down this path, there is no return. You will be hunted. Judged. Feared. Are you absolutely certain? I squeezed her hand back. Say it, she whispered. Her words trembled this time, not commanding, not claiming. Pleading. Say yes. I looked at her, the woman who terrified me, challenged me, nearly killed me in training, and protected me even more fiercely than she fought. And I didn't hesitate. Yes. For a heartbeat she closed her eyes, relief, pain, wonder, all tangled. Then she pulled me into the passage as alarms erupted across the station. We ran. Together. Into the unknown. Into danger. into whatever waited for us next. Not bound by accident anymore, but by choice. By truth. By yes.